So at the twilight's last gleaming, cooled our tribes and bright stars through the last fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming in the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air came through that night that our flag was still there. Say, does that star speak?
Good afternoon, class. I got a new mug. In case you haven't seen yet, you know, I love it. Makes my coffee taste better. Class is starting. Why are your binders not out? Child, are you paying attention?
Sure, Mr. Chitwood.
Miss Cruz, take your headphones out.
Oh, what? Sorry, I was listening to the national anthem.
I love that song. Oh, say, can you sing by the dawn's
Mr.
early...
Shea, please. Anyway, we have an essay exam next Thursday.
Mr. Chitwood, when have we ever had an essay exam on Thursday?
Well, actually, what I meant was...
Okay, but why do you have an essay exam at the end of the year?
Yeah.
Moving on.
Well, is it on the Civil War?
You should all refer to the essential question. It's been on the board for a week.
No, but is it like the Battle of like Antietam or something?
First of all, it's the Battle of Antietam, okay? Antietam, like Antietam. There's a separation, okay? Not Antietam, Antietam.
Okay, so what about the Battle of Antietam?
Are you kidding me? Look at the essential question. Someone read it. Someone just read it.
Well, I don't want to read it.
Okay. To what extent was the U.S. Civil War a conflict that was inevitable?
Wait, I can't hear you. Sorry, can you speak up?
To what extent was the U.S. Civil War a conflict that was inevitable?
Enunciate, please.
To what extent was the U.S. Civil War a conflict that was inevitable or an issue that could have been solved politically, bearing the same result?
Wait, can you say that again? I wasn't paying attention.
To what extent was the U.S. Civil War a conflict that was inevitable?
I got the horses in the back. Oh, sorry, that was stuck in my head. Sorry. Just had to.
An issue that could have been solved politically, bearing the same result.
Well, anyways, we have this document to annotate. I will begin passing it out.
Mr. Chitwood, I literally can't annotate this. It's actually just a picture.
Well, what do you see in the picture?
I don't know.
Well, you better find out, because this is very pertinent to our essay exam next Tuesday.
Actually, I think I get it now, Chitwood. We can see the toll that the Civil War had as a whole on the nation with this image. I remember the description of how they often treated the wounded during the war from the other documents we read. This is a field hospital on the Confederate side treating the wounded after the Battle of Antietam at Smith's Barn.
Yeah, I remember now. In fact, that's Dr. Anton Hurd from Indiana. Clearly, both sides did not have the funds to properly treat their soldiers, especially considering that Dr. Hurd was a volunteer.
Wow, I'm actually amazed. Class is over today, guys, because Nolan and Jessica are so supercalifragilistically exceptional. Woo! Hey, class, come on. Nolan, Jessica, where's Brooke's not here today. Okay, come on in. So, y'all like the song that's playing? Come on in.
Hey.
Do any of you guys recognize this song?
We're not old, Mr. Chitwood.
Yeah, plus we're too busy being on our phones to remember history.
Oh, don't give me that sass. Okay, children, that was the Battle Cry of Freedom. It's by George F. Root, I believe. Yes, George F. Root. And the song had an extremely overwhelming impact on the Civil War. Yeah, it was made in response to Lincoln calling. Sorry, my throat's a little dry. In response to Lincoln calling for over 300,000 volunteers after the numbers were shrinking for the Union Army. So.
Oh, is it gonna be in the test, Mr. Chitwood?
Literally, child, why would I do that?
Because why not?
Okay, well, moving on from your ridiculous question, let's go ahead and get this essay exam started. So, guess what? Today's gonna be a little different. Basically, we're gonna be doing a little twist on your typical essay exam, and we're gonna be doing this in partners. But if I see any technology out, it's a 0 for both of you. Also, please do not turn over the documents until I say so. Hey!
Oh, oops, sorry.
Oh.
Okay, class, ready you are? Get it? That was my Yoda impersonation. Anyways, you have 50 minutes. Good luck.
Ha ha, Mr. Chitwood.
Hey, Mr. Chitwood, who is President Lincoln again? I'm going to rebel against this question and refuse to be civil about your general attitude.
Ha ha.
Very funny.
Child.
Get a picture.
Two?
I don't know as much about this essay problem as I thought.
Wow, I don't remember anything about this either. Jessica, you're supposed to be the smart one. If you don't know this, we're doomed.
Okay, fine. Let's just break down the question.
Okay.
To what extent was the Battle of Antietam a turning point in the war?
Bro, I didn't even know the battle was important.
Dude, Nolan! Do you even pay attention in class? Hold up, don't you remember? Mr. Chitwood showed us that video, that crash course video with him and Miss Dell on it when they guest starred.
Yeah.
Come on, let's see if we can think. Let's see if we can think and remember.
Oh yeah, I'm remembering now.
Whoa!
Hi, I'm John Green, and you're watching Crash Course U.S. History. Huzzah! Today we're going to be talking about the Battle of Antietam. And yes, it's pronounced Antietam, not Antietam or Antietam. So, the Battle of Antietam, taking place near Sharpsburg, Maryland on September 17, 1862. This battle was a big turning point in the war. Cut to the map. So in this image, we can see the Union Army in blue and Confederate Army in red. 6 of General McClellan's divisions made it to Sharpsburg the day before, and they positioned themselves to the north and northeast of the city. Major General Joseph Hooker made the first attack on the Confederates from the north in the morning of September 17th, attacking the North Woods and making some headway, although not much due to Confederate counterattacks. They made their way to the cornfield pictured in the map, and the resulting battle with cannons and long-range fire made the cornfield a slaughter pen. J.K.F. Mansfield reinforced Hooker coming from the East Woods soon after. While Mansfield eventually died from wounds sustained from this part of the battle, his division pierced through the East Woods and made it to Dunkard Church despite the pushback from Confederate Brigadier General John Bell Hood. Another division of reinforcements was meant to enter the battle here, but they never arrived, resulting in more stalling on both sides. Two of Major General Edwin Summers' divisions made it across Antietam Creek soon after, however, and supported the battle. The next big assault was during midday, with Confederate Major General Daniel Harvey Hill holding his 3 divisions positioned just west of a farm road called Sunken Road. Not pictured in the map is a division of Brigadier General Nathan Kimball with the help of Sumner. The resulting battle created a bloodbath in Sunken Road. The massive amount of blood turned the dirt to mud, earning it the name Bloody Lane. Major General Israel B. Richardson arrived to support Kimball and helped finally push the Confederates back due to sheer numbers. Finally, in the afternoon, Major General Ambrose Burnside deployed his troops to the east of the battle across Lower Bridge, soon to be called Burnside Bridge after him, despite McClellan telling him to deploy his troops 3 hours before he actually did. Within 2 hours, by 3 p.m., Burnside successfully made it across the bridge and got the Confederates on the run. At this critical point in the battle, however, Confederate Major General A.P. Hill arrived just in time to bail out Lee's depleted forces. He swept in and forced Burnside back across his bridge, effectively ending the battle and forcing the Union on a retreat. The battle was referred to as a draw, but the Union later declared victory. Apparently, over 100,000 troops were used in this battle, with over 80,000 of them being Union soldiers. This battle became known as the Civil War's bloodiest battle due to its high number of casualties, ranging from 15,000 to over 20,000. However, to understand this battle, we need to first look at its placement during the war. It was an important battle in the Civil War, for sure. Let's go over to my good friend Miss Dell to explain the background of the country at the time.
Hey guys, so I'm sure some of you think this is odd, but my bestie, John Green, welcomed me to his video to help explain the Battle of Antietam because, fun fact, I was a nurse during that battle. So basically, for some context on the location, we should talk about the battle before this. So basically, the Battle of Bull Run took place on August 1862. Confederate General Robert E. Lee sent his troops across the Potomac into Maryland, where the Battle of Antietam was fought. This encouraged European support for the Confederacy by winning a battle on northern soil.
How interesting, Miss Dell. Tell me about the economics at the time.
Do you know that cotton was a huge factor in the Civil War? The large Confederate success actually called for a huge cotton shortage in England, and by May 1862, the supply was less than 1/3 of what the mills required, and the European textile industry was facing a crisis. Confederate diplomats to France and England blamed the shortage on the Union Navy, claiming that they were unable to maneuver their cargo ships through the blockade. This prompted a break in relations between the United States and Britain. In fact, the South enacted an embargo on cotton so as to add pressure to the British and French governments already put there by their unemployed citizens. And this was all to try and gain Europe's support by the Confederacy.
Now some preface. Like I mentioned before, the Union Army had many more troops than the Confederates. However, General McClellan made several poor choices and held little communication with his officers that resulted in major losses for the Union Army. That's the Battle of Antietam. There were several crucial points that decided how the battle would go, and had it gone differently, Lee might have surrendered. On to my friend Mr. Chitwood to explain the outcomes of the battle.
Hello class. It is now time for me to go over the outcomes of the Battle of Antietam. This includes the statistics and casualties as well. So let's get started. The Battle of Antietam is remembered as the single bloodiest day in battle in American history, which is crazy because it was only one day of battle and there were over 23,000 casualties suffered from both armies from both ends. So like I said, severe amounts of casualties were suffered, which caused both armies to slowly cripple. This is why it's hard to say who exactly won the war, because many deaths happened on both sides, so who had the higher end, you know? Well, the Union Army kept on pushing regardless, until General Lee's Confederate Army was forced to withdraw before they became any more battered than they already were. So I guess in a sense you could say that the Union had won, because they had forced the withdrawal of General Lee's army. The victory of the Union in this battle forced the Confederate Army to retreat, which led Abraham Lincoln to issue the Emancipation Proclamation on September 22nd, 1862, which was only 5 days after the battle had ended. This battle may have saved Lincoln from a defeat in the upcoming elections because of the results. So that is all for the outcomes. I hope you guys learned something from this.
Thank you, Mr. Chitwood. On to our final segment. Today, we will also be trying out a new segment. It's similar to the mystery document, except we'll be analyzing images today. So for this, stand prepared for us 2 images, and I'll have to analyze them correctly, only based on my knowledge from the Battle of Antietam. Let's get started. Thinking. Well, these are painfully obvious, Stan. The first image is the Burnside Bridge, which played a key role in the late parts of the battle, as previously mentioned. While the battle itself was technically a draw, as I said before, the Burnside Bridge was one of the Union's big wins during the battle, like John Lee mentioned, before being forced back by Hill's troops. The bridge was named after the Union General Burnside, but ironically, they were forced back across it. The second image is the Dunkard Church, which played a role both during and after the battle. The Confederates were attacked by the Union while seeking refuge here, and afterwards the Confederates used it to take care of their wounded. Well, I hope you learned from today's Crash Course video. If you want to check out Mr. Chitwood's and Miss Dell's Instagrams, look in the description below. Cameron also told me to give a shout out to @DanielD Photography on Instagram. Thank you so much to Stan and my writers, and I'll see you next week.
Whoa! I'm so glad we remembered that. Now that we have more context, let's go get to analyzing these documents for the essay prompt.
Bro, that's President Lincoln and George B. McClellan talking after the Battle of Antietam. You can see the Confederate flag they captured on the left side. Considering that Abraham Lincoln decided to issue the Emancipation Proclamation after this win for the Union, they might be talking about it now. That's one reason it was a turning point. It both allowed Lincoln to win the next presidency in the future and to issue the Emancipation Proclamation sooner as well. Wow, this battle was a big deal. Wait, but what's that document?
Wait, I know this one. It shows a Union soldier having buried only his own Union friends and not the Confederates. This shows the hatred between the two groups, which actually supports the essential question. The Confederates and the Union had such pent-up resentment against the Civil War that a Civil War was inevitable, even to the point where they didn't bury the other side's soldiers with the same respect as their own, if at all. Didn't Miss Dell mention photos like these in the Crash Course video? Weren't they important to showing the people at home the horrors of the war, thus leading more force to end it?
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22 minutes left, class.
Wow, how distracting. We were on a roll. Oh, anyway, you're right. And that directly connects to the third image. As we know, the Battle of Antietam included the most deaths of any Civil War battle. This here is Bloody Lane, the given name of a farm road that was called Sunken Road before the battle, and it earned its name as we can see by the bodies in this image. Like she mentioned before, these images showed the people at home how horrible the war was. I mean, imagine seeing these during wartime. I don't know about you, but I would have a refound purpose to end this war sooner. This supports the essay prompt too, because the response to this battle was necessary for the morale boost before the war ended.
I think we have everything we need now.
Yep, let us finish writing.
Alright class, time's up, turn them in. I hope y'all don't have a chitty day.
That wasn't so hard.